What? Where am I? Why is it so dark in here? Oh no! My land! My territory! It... it is gone! Oh no! My oil! Texas! California, where are you? I need you! You have oil! Whoever did this, I will make sure they pay. Huh? Who is that? Who are you? Show yourself, or I will have to give you a bit of freedom and democracy. And I am not afraid to nuke you, boy. Oh no. Who are you? Yeah, I really don't think I need to explain who's coming back today. But if you didn't get it, it is the Spanish Empire. So welcome colleagues, fellas, and mentally unstable people that are seeing this video. I'm Bausch, and today we're going to look at a scenario where the Spanish Empire, at its territorial peak, comes back to life in 2024. So if you guys enjoy this type of content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. That is always really important. And let's get going. So to start off, I really want to sorry you for the bad animation that I had to make you watch for around 1 minute. I know it made you suffer, and I know that you'll probably have to go to a doctor next to it. I don't cover any insurance, just to remind you that. And secondly, we are going, to use the Spanish Empire at its territorial peak, so around 1783. And you can see they were huge. They had things in the Philippines, they had basically all of America, and themselves in Iberian Peninsula. But if you think that they are going to just leave it by there, they won't. Because you see, there are some interesting things right here. When I say interesting, I talk about the leftovers of Belize, Nicaragua, Guatemala, or Honduras, or whatever that country is, and Guyana. And you see, the main thing about these countries is that they are like full of oil. So they are like half of it is it's oil. It's just full of oil, but their military strength is equal to Iceland, which if you don't know, it's 0 troops. So yeah, and Spain is going to attack them. Okay, now that that is done, there's a main problem that Spain is actually facing. And if you think that it would be like Central American countries that they would want to attack, no, it's nothing like that. You see, although I talk about very unrealistic scenarios like the Spanish Empire coming back in 2024, I like to try to keep my videos geopolitically and historically the most real possible. And if we're going to do that, we have to, include NATO in this scenario. Because NATO wouldn't just stay still and do nothing. The US lost around like 1/3 of their territory, lost states like California and Texas were just crucial to their GDP, lost probably like 2/3 of their oil production, as 2/3 of their oil production is in these regions. And also Canada loses some things, but not that much important. And they also lose Florida. So this is a really big loss to the USA, who of course wants to reassure their dominance over North America and not the Spanish. So what do? They just reach out to the whole NATO and say, hey, let's kick out Spain. But there are some countries that really don't want to do that. And so as USA tries to kick out Spain, you have like a division between NATO on either to kick or not Spain, as there are some countries like the Great Britain, Germany, and all of these guys that want to kick them out, and these red countries that don't want to kick them out. And the reason is quite simple, it is not just some random country big selection, no. Hungary, maybe because they are a bit against USA's politics and dominance in NATO, so they would probably just try to want to be like the disobedient boy that doesn't want to follow their dad's rules or something like that, so like the rebel son or something. And because they have better diplomatic relations with Spain than they have with USA, especially after the Ukraine war. Then you have Romania because of cultural ties, mostly the same with Italy, and because of proximity and again cultural and population ties. France because it really doesn't like the military dilemma of NATO, and you can search about the 2009 dilemma of France during the military plan of NATO. Then Portugal, because it would be like completely smashed and destroyed by Spain if they did not help Spain in these. But Spain understands that even with all of this power, it isn't really good to go against the USA. And because they don't want a conflict in Europe, they'll be smart. And they will reach the USA and say, "Hey USA, if you let us get some tiny parts of Florida and South California, South Texas, and South Louisiana, with you and Canada getting the rest of your old territories, we shall be kept in NATO." And as USA doesn't really have another option, they accept. And in the treaty, you can see that North America basically goes a bit to their old shape, with the USA-Canada borders being basically restored, and with Spain maintaining a bit of lands in the states of California, Oklahoma, and Florida, with their main request to maintain Area 51. And the Americans just couldn't reject that because that's most of their lost lands, so the Spanish were actually quite nice in these. Now that this, all of this thing in North America is solved, Spain manages to keep its position in NATO as now one of the main political powers in NATO, and I don't think I need to explain why. But now they're going to head their eyes south, specifically onto Argentina, because this little panhandle is irritating them. And so they are going to attack Argentina, promising Chile that if they help them with Argentina, they will thick them. So yeah, it is the end of thick Chile, people. It is sad. But now the war will start. But yeah, don't get too emotional because there aren't really major cities on the south of Argentina, as the main focus of the Spanish will be in this panhandle, which is mainly protected by the River Plaza. So if the Spanish want to make an advance, it will be probably by the south here, taking the main city near the river, and then following that the fall of these parts. Then right here the major cities are all in this little part of Argentina, as now many advances will be made. You'll have a little invasion right here onto taking this, as Chile will now protect the Alp situation that they have to try to get the most of Argentina, as now the invasion combined gets basically all of this, and now Spain is going to try to get this little part of Argentina, which again falls to them. Chile will now try to get little cities that you could call major cities of this part of Argentina near the border, but you know, they won't really get much from that. As now Argentina will just understand that they have to surrender their capital that would be right here in the River La Plata because it's the main important region of them. And so they will surrender. But hey, there's a plot twist. Spain invades Chile. Why? Because they want it. No, mainly because of geographical reasons. Chile, although might be a desert full of mountains, is a good geographical protection for basically all of naval invasions that they might try to do against Argentina. But yeah, now that this thing is solved, these guys will just go and conquer Chile. What is mainly going to happen is this. There's no major cities, there's just Alps, and Spain can't go through it. So they will try to go in an invasion right here and right here in the south. And Chile just knows that they will probably die, and so they surrender. Yeah, they don't even take their capital. Chile just surrender because they have to. You know, there is much cultural similarities between these countries and Spain, and it wouldn't just be worth it to fight with Spain because it would be just too much costly. So I think they actually made the smart decision on surrendering, like Denmark in World War II. And in the peace treaty, you can see that Spain annexes all of Argentina and Chile, getting their so desired territories and their so desired Latin and Spanish speaking South America by getting the mountain range of Andes and the natural forest resources of Argentina. And it is actually a geographical and economically boost relatively to Spain. But there's more because although Spain has all of South America's speaking Spanish countries, they're still Central America. And the Bahamas, Jamaica, and Haiti, they're still Spanish Central America, being these three countries. And so Spain is going to attack those three countries into getting all of speaking Spanish America, which is actually a pretty reasonable reason, cultural reason. So what could actually happen, Bats? Like, it is just three countries, right? No, because there's more joining the war. There's Suriname. Okay, there's four countries. No, Brazil's also joining the war. Why? Because they all made a defensive pact, or the America defensive pact against, Spain. But yeah, I guess things couldn't get worse. Yeah, Liberia joins too. Why? Liberian Brazilian relations actually are quite good, and Liberia isn't really liking all of this. And yeah, Equatorial Guinea the same. They also join into stopping Spanish advances. But as things, I don't think things could actually get worse to Spain. No, they can. They can because Catalonia. Yeah, Catalonia decided to choose a great moment to, try to get the Spanish government taken down. That is what they're going to do. Revolts all over the country. But if things couldn't get worse, yeah, then Andalusian revolts will see the Catalonian revolts and will also claim their rights onto being independent because of, Muslim history and whatsoever. And yeah, you'll have massive revolts near Cordoba, Sevilla, Granada, and all of major southern Spanish cities. But yeah, what could even go worse? So if Morocco attacked Spain and joined this war, which is not totally impossible, and you know why? Because Andalusian revolts, Morocco probably tried to supply them, and Morocco would join this little Brazilian alliance. And why? Well, basically to not get NATO intervention, because if NATO intervenes, is because someone is attacking continental Spain and Morocco is only attacking first the Ceuta and Melilla territories, and second joins the Brazil alliance, so it is technically on the defensive. And yeah, with these things are really not looking good to Spain. So let's see how this goes. So in Central America, Spain is actually having the situation quite controlled. They get here into this island of Bahamas. They make their invasion of Bahamas, and they are basically totally destroyed. The same with Jamaica. Kingston is conquered, and now all of Jamaica just surrenders to them. And in Haiti, they just trigger the capital in an actually decent invasion, and the whole Haiti then just surrenders. Right here in South America, Spain is actually going to be smart and start their campaign over into Suriname, getting some major northern things, but their main focus is right here on this little capital that they have, and so they are going to make a blockade, at least a naval blockade of Suriname, restricting any help to the country only basically to Brazil, because France isn't going to help, nor will they, because they are attacking them. So they aren't going to much focus in the south because there's much oil. They'll just trigger the main cities of Suriname that are all basically very near to the coast. Eventually, the capital will be totally conquered, and the whole Suriname also, excepting the few Brazilian troops that remain in the country that are trying to defend the rest of Suriname. But yeah, that isn't really going good, because now Brazil will itself be triggered. Right here, there won't be much campaigns in Amazon, because that's just literally dead. It is all jungle and dense forests that have only resourcing values, but would be just geographical waste to try to invade these, because it would be a little dead to the soldiers. They'll try just to maintain the most control over the northern region, but their main focus is maybe right here, this region in the north. And now they'll have two fronts. So you have a little major city, so you have, I think, right here, Porto Alegre, and so they will start their campaigns into trying to get the city, while trying to get some major parts of Brazil, and trying to pass the river La Plata, which is actually a difficult task because it is actually protecting Brazil. Right here, they will start making again their invasions, and in Bolivia right here, they make their first actually decent and important invasion, as they now managed to take a first Brazilian main city, which is actually an important thing. They now try to solidify this front line, but there isn't like much here, so they just take the resources and get back to the mainland to get these troops right here more sources. So now that Spain is trying to get into Brazil, things aren't really going that easily, as Uruguay is, again, South America geographically is not easy to invade. They might try some things, but they're mainly strict to the coast, I think, trying to get more Uruguayan cities, eventually just getting to total Brazil, the zone of Paraná. They would try to solidify their presence over in the river of La Plata, just trying to get the bordering regions of the river, and eventually launching their city invasion over into Porto Alegre with some help, solidifying the southern fronts. And then now that the river or the sea campaign is also going, they managed to control these regions, which the Brazilian troops were not expecting, because they also have to defend these. So they would try to stabilize a defensive line like this, which is difficult. But Spain would just go all onto this one, which they were not prepared, so they have to evacuate troops, which lets a surprise attack from these sides. And with a surprise attack from this side, and I'm sorry, this is not actually middled, Spain manages to trick the Brazilian soldiers and eventually getting all of this to themselves, which is a big conquest, as now Brazilian troops have to get into here into São Paulo, which is now going to be threatened. Now they will have to shift their focus into Morocco. They will try to keep the Andalusian little revolt thing controlled, but it isn't really going to be much easy, as they manage to connect themselves between Sevilla and Cordoba, and to Granada and this other city. Now they are trying to connect both themselves right here into these little parts. Morocco is going to be actually supplied by some of Arab League members, except Algeria, which just lets the troops pass but doesn't support Morocco because they don't really like them. Eventually Morocco will conquer Ceuta and launch a mini South Spain invasion, but doesn't launch a bigger one because they don't want to get too much of NATO involved. Now right here in Catalonia, revolts get more and more influence, as they now get all of this coastal part right here, and now they are starting to get into more serious cities. They conquer Barcelona. They are now threatening the Basque region, which will suffer from a different revolt that is going to separate, and is now going to try to get more of the Basque region to try to again get its independence. Catalonia is of course going to ally with them because they don't want separations between the revolts. Spain's main focus is now trying to get these separated, so not together, and try to get these Cordoba and Sevilla first because it's more important cities, while these guys manage to also get Valencia to themselves and now get into the Extremadura region, into the Portuguese border, now try to go together with their borders. Yeah, not good for Spain, as now more and more revolts are starting to appear, and they demand for more and more independence, which Spain is not really into giving to them. So now with their military reorganized, with some troops evacuating from America, this is what they do. So they start off by conquering this and taking these into separating these. Main focus link on this part that would connect with the rest of the Andalusian revolts, and eventually getting Sevilla down, and now all of these revolts, with only this one just existing, and yeah, not for long. The Basque revolt is mainly getting pushed up, and the Catalonia just stays the same. Right here in Brazil, things are going to get much complicated, as Spain is just gonna go full at it, and São Paulo is just, again, getting threatened. Of course, you'd have a bunch of cariocas trying to stop this invasion with guns and favelas and whatever, but Spain would just impose dominance over the regions, which of course you would have some Brazilian protests, mainly in the Pará region, but it isn't that much of a organized revolt. Spain is going to be intelligent and leave some troops there for also defensive things. If like Brazil tries to invade, they make fortifications to not let Brazil make a counterattack, which is actually important, especially because now they are going to threaten the region right here of Sierra, by making this little really big invasion, trying to get the maximum territory possible. And yeah, the Sierra is just not great. They make a naval blockade over here, and eventually launching multiple invasions and connecting these little borders, which just lets, all of these to be Spanish. And now there's just one main problem. And yeah, they need to get to Sao Paulo if they want Brazil to surrender. So all of these revolts are just immediately taken out. There is, although, an existence of a little state of the Pará, with some revolts actually being not controlled and being created a little like semi-country right here. But eventually Spain just manages to threaten São Paulo enough for the whole Brazil to eventually surrender, which gets Spain time to solve the situation in their own mainland. So Catalonia is their main objective to get down, and although they start actually by making some advances over in the region of Andalusia, it is not that easy to stop these revolts, as now Catalonia will ally itself with the Basques and just get some important points and ports to Spain, eventually getting some naval dominance also in the region. But Spain is not going to let it slide. They are going to make a special invasion over here into Catalonia, eventually getting this all cut off. Catalonia is not really going to have much success, only being left by the regions in the Pyrenees that they don't manage to take because of the mountain range. Andalusia will be completely taken, as now Spain can focus all of its military into Morocco. And I tell you, it is not going to be pretty. The main Moroccan city that they have to take is Marrakesh and Casablanca. They started an invasion over here in Ceuta, with some help of also allies such as France and Italy that they are helping in this invasion. They start their invasion of Melilla, and eventually their main first objective is to get all of these united into a big northern front line. That was basically their Moroccan Ceuta colony, 70s I guess. But now that they have these, they can start their focus onto Casablanca. Of course, Muslim countries are going to supply them, but the main Spanish troops were in Brazil and now they are right here. Spain makes naval blockades, and the parts just forget that the Canaries are not painted. They make their invasion off to the Saharan main city, the Western Saharan main city, while also getting into Rabat. Now all of Morocco main cities are completely taken out, which eventually makes them surrender. And in a peace treaty you can see that many things change. So yeah, let's get into it. Starting in Morocco, the northern part of Morocco goes to Spain, uniting the region of Ceuta and Melilla into the old Spanish colony in northern Africa. And right here in the south, Western Sahara gets to Spain. But you can see that there's a little darkish red in Western Sahara. That's because that part is a sovereignty Sahara recognized part. So this territory in dark red is a Spanish territory, where the Saharan sovereignty over the territory is recognized by Spain itself. Right here in Central America, you can see that Spain annexes all of the countries that they invaded. And in South America, things are a bit different, as Spain annexes basically all of Suriname, with this little region being made a puppet state just to maintain all of the natives. But it's not really a recognized state. They basically get all of Suriname, but the puppet state thing is just a formal thing, I guess you could say. Spain also annexes minor territories in the border with Brazil, getting basically all of these that they didn't have in Uruguay, and a bit right here in Bolivia, with the Paraná states, or the Pará little revolt and gang favela states, being turned into a semi-independent revolt states, and the same thing happened in Sierra, but it is a more organized thing. But hey guys, remember one thing. This is just a theory. A mapping theory. Thanks for watching, don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and yeah, see you in the next video.